You're 17, maybe 18, sitting at a red light in the base model Corolla your parents co-signed, engine humming like a refrigerator. Then, this thing rolls up next to you. Low burble, crackle on the overrun. You glance over. It's just a worn-out Civic with a cheap intake and fart can exhaust. Nothing special. But something in your chest does this little flip. You don't want it. You recognize it. Like you'd already heard that sound in your head your whole life. Light goes green. He leaves you. You don't chase him. You just drive home, hyper aware of every dead spot in your throttle, every wallow in the steering, the way the whole car feels like it's apologizing for existing. You park in the driveway and just sit there for a second with the engine running, listening to it idle, really listening to it for the first time. And you hate it. Not the car. The fact that you never noticed how boring it sounded until right now. That night, you open YouTube for the first time with actual intent. Your exact make and model, plus the two magic words, best mods. That's it. That's the beginning of everything. Level 1, the first mod. You start stupid small, 5% tint all around, or a cold air intake that probably doesn't do anything, or just a weighted shift knob because the stock one feels like a toy. You tell your mom it's practical. Tint keeps the interior cooler. Intake helps with airflow, right? When you walk out of work and see that one change on your car, the feeling is bigger than it should be. Not because the car is faster, because you did something to it. Most people just drive whatever the dealer handed them and never once ask, what if? You asked. And then you spent the money. Then you got your hands dirty. Or at least watched some guy on YouTube get his hands dirty and followed along. Suddenly, your car isn't just transportation anymore. It's not your parents' Corolla with your name on the insurance. It's yours. Actually, yours. Because you made a decision about it that nobody told you to make. First mod is tiny, but the message is loud. I don't accept the default. And you don't fully realize it yet, but that message isn't really about the car. It's about everything. It's the first time you've looked at something in your life that was handed to you and said, no, I'm changing this. The car is just the first thing that let you. Level 2, the rabbit hole. 3 months later, your search history is a cry for help. You've joined 3 forums, 2 discords, and you're arguing with strangers about exhaust drone at 3 a.m. like it matters to anyone but you. You've watched the same header install video 11 times because every rewatch you spot something new. You're learning a whole vocabulary you didn't know existed a season ago. Back pressure, flow dynamics, spring rates, damping adjustment. And the weird part is, you're retaining all of it. School couldn't get you to memorize anything. This stuff just sticks. You buy the exhaust, then wheels, then tires to match. Then realize the stock suspension now looks out of place. So coilovers it is. Each part creates the problem that justifies the next part. The car is never done. It's always one click away from perfect. You start keeping a list on your phone, not a to-do list, a build list. Mods ranked by priority and price and how soon you can afford them. You check it more than your messages. The high after every install lasts shorter and shorter. Intake felt great for 2 weeks. Exhaust maybe 10 days. Wheels? A week before you're pricing spacers. You're not building a car anymore. You're chasing the next fix. And once something's upgraded, everything stock next to it starts looking wrong. Like getting new shoes and suddenly your socks are from 2017. The car demands consistency. One nice thing makes all the unnice things unbearable. So you keep going, not because you want to, because it won't let you stop. Level 3, the identity shift. You roll up to your first meet and some guy walks straight up. You're the white hatch, right? Not your name, your car. And you grin like an idiot because, yeah, that's you now. People start tagging you. Photographers hit you up for golden hour shots. You set one as your lock screen, and it doesn't feel strange. You start thinking about the car in terms of content, angles that look good, lighting that hits right, spots worth driving to just for the photo. Your Instagram goes from random posts to basically a car page. You didn't plan that. It just happened. The car took over the feed because the car took over your brain. Your non-car friends start side-eyeing the money you're dropping. Bro, when are you going to be done? You don't even know how to answer. Done? The question doesn't make sense. That's like asking an artist when they were going to stop painting. It's not a project with an end date. It's how you think now. The scene gives you 2 things. Normal life rarely does at the same time. A tribe and a way to stand out inside it. You're an EK guy, an S chassis guy, whatever. That's the group. That's the belonging part. But your specific combination of parts, your ride height, your wheel specs, that's your fingerprint. No 2 builds are exactly the same even on the same platform because no 2 people make the same choices. Only your people can read it. Some random pedestrian sees a lowered car. Your people see your coilover brand, your offset, your tire stretch, your fender gap. They're reading a whole biography written in suspension geometry. Every meet is just a conversation in metal and rubber, and nobody outside the scene even knows it's happening. Level 4 in the garage years. You finally get real garage space. Smells like brake cleaner and old rubber forever. Parts on shelves you bought 6 months ago are still in boxes. You own a torque wrench now instead of renting one because renting felt wrong. There's a creeper with a permanent oil stain and a shop light you zip tied to the ceiling because the overhead wasn't bright enough. The floor has drip marks from every fluid your car has ever leaked. You know which stain is from which job. You start doing all your own work. Not even for the money. Your time isn't worth much anyway. You just can't stand letting someone else touch it. Dropping it off at a shop feels like handing your journal to a stranger. You know every bolt. You know which one you cross-threaded at 2 a.m. and fixed with the tap and die set you ordered in a panic. You know the one bracket that's slightly bent because you forced it the first time before you learned patience. You left it bent on purpose. Reminds you, your hands stay a little stained. You've got a scar on your left knuckle from a rusted exhaust stud that fought back. You wear it like a badge. 4 hours disappear while you're under the car and you don't check your phone once. No thoughts about rent, your boss, or that message you haven't answered. Just torque specs and clearance and does this thing fit or not? Your brain goes completely quiet in a way it never does anywhere else. Not meditation quiet, working quiet. The kind of focused silence where the only thing that exists is the problem in front of you and the tool in your hand. Real life is mostly gray and complicated. People say one thing and mean another. You do good work and nothing changes. You try hard and it doesn't matter. The car, turn the wrench, something changes. Install the part, it works or it doesn't, and either way, you know exactly why. That simplicity is addictive when nothing else in your life operates that cleanly. Level 5, the sacrifice. The math stopped making sense a long time ago. You've spent more than the car is worth, and your wife casually mentions at dinner that money could have been a vacation or a house fund. She's not even mad, just stating facts. And the worst part is, she's using the same voice you've heard from everyone else who doesn't get it. Calm, logical, a little bit sad for you, like you're doing something self-destructive and can't see it. You don't argue. On paper, she's right. But paper doesn't know what it feels like to heel toe into a corner on a track day and have the car do exactly what you told it to. That's not a vacation. That's proof you exist. That's hours of research and wrenching and failed attempts all paying off in one clean corner where the car rotates exactly how you set it up to. No vacation does that. No trip gives you that feeling of confirmation. You built this. It listened. Some friendships fade quietly, not blow-ups. They just drift because you only talk about camber now. Saturday nights turn into Saturday mornings in the garage. You don't miss the going out as much as you thought you would. Your contacts split into two lists. Everyday people and the ones who know what differential fluid you run. When life gets messy, job sucking, relationship unclear, future blurry, you disappear into the garage. Because at least here the problems have answers. You don't have to wonder if you're doing the right thing. The bolt is either torqued or it isn't. The alignment is either in spec or it's off. The car doesn't send mixed signals. It doesn't change its mind. It breaks, you fix it, you feel better. Simple as that. And when nothing else in your world is simple, that garage starts to feel less like a hobby and more like the only place that makes sense. Level 6, the mirror. One random night, you're just sitting in the finished car in the garage, engine off. Fresh polish, alignment perfect, everything exactly how you wanted it at 22, and you feel quiet, not sad, just still, like you finally ran out of road. You've been going so hard for so long that you forgot to check whether you still wanted to get where you were headed, and the answer is complicated. You do and you don't. The car is right, but you're different than you were when you started planning this build. Some of those choices were made by a version of you that doesn't fully exist anymore. That's when it hits you. This was never about the car. It was about that kid at the red light who heard a sound and woke up. About refusing to drive the default life. Every loud exhaust, every low stance, every part you chose was just a different version of you saying, this is who I am right now. Some of those choices look different to you now. The stance that felt perfect at 22 looks different at 30. The exhaust that used to be your whole personality is just loud now. You don't hate it. It just doesn't say what it used to say. And that's okay. The build didn't fail. You just outgrew the old version. Some people sell at this point and start fresh. Some people evolve the same car. Some people just park it and move on for a while. None of those are wrong. The people who stay in this scene for decades, they're not stuck. They just found something they can keep reshaping. Something that lets them say something different every few years without starting from scratch. Level 7. The truth. You're older. Maybe you sold it. Maybe you're on build number 3. Maybe the first one is still under a cover in the corner waiting for a weekend that never comes. Doesn't matter. The car didn't change you because it got faster. It changed you because you learned you're the kind of person who can't leave things stock, who needs at least one corner of life where effort actually equals results and the rules don't randomly change, where you can point at something and say, I did that, and the thing doesn't argue with you about it. It showed you real community isn't about small talk, it's about obsessing over the same specific things until you understand each other without saying much. The guy who knows your spring rates probably knows more about you than most of your coworkers. And that sounds sad, but it isn't. It's just how it works when people bond over something they actually care about instead of something they're forced to share. And the hardest part? Every time the new part excitement wore off after a few days, it was trying to tell you the same thing over and over. You were never building the car, you were building yourself. The car was just the thing you were holding while you did it. Somewhere right now, another kid is sitting at a red light in a stock sedan. Something rumbles up next to him. He doesn't know what it is yet, doesn't know the make or the mod or why it sounds like that. He just knows his car doesn't sound like that and he wants it to. He drives home different, opens YouTube, types his make, his model, and two words, best mods. And it all starts again.